When I was much younger, I had a very distinct belief in the underground. Now, this underground, this idea of an underground referred to an amalgam of a counterculture, a parallel culture, a subculture, not in the sense that it's generally used, but a literal subculture, a subterranean culture, that there was underneath the skin of everything that I saw and everything that I took for granted as being perpetual and ubiquitous. There was something else. That there was a different set of rules whereby people interacted. That there was a different set of traditions, a different history. Not a parallel language in the sense of a parallel vocabulary or parallel grammar, but a parallel relation to meaning, and along with it a parallel relation to aesthetics. Note here that the idea was not that there was a different meaning or a different aesthetic. That was a given, and I didn't need this mystical construct to believe in something like that, but rather that the ways in which people related to these things could be homogeneous enough to constitute a culture, but different enough from what I was seeing, and from what I was seeing is comparatively homogeneous, that it would constitute a different culture, one parallel or independent. Along the way, this picked up very real mystical qualities. Not mystical in the sense of supernatural, not in the sense where I expected a different causality or a different phenomenology to apply, but mystical in the sense that I invested in this idea. Many of the expectations that other people invest in the supernatural. And part of it is that my idea of this was largely shaped by mythology, both popular mythology, what we see in the movies, what we hear in music lyrics, that sort of thing, but also classical mythology. I was growing up, I was very, very intensely focused on Celtic mythology, Irish folktale, and the two are different. This pervasive idea of a reality alongside the reality that we knew got wrapped up in this expectation of most every adolescent has some experience of alienation, but for me it was very pronounced. So these two got commingled. The way my schooling progressed, I had occasion to kind of step outside of the conventional track pretty early. And this gave me a lot of time. This also gave me opportunity to be interacting at 14, 15, 16. Most of the people I was spending time with were in their early 20s, mostly college students, and so this gave me access to what I had hoped would be a different world, would be something radically different. And alongside this, I was plugged into gay subculture, which at the time GLB subculture really was a subculture, but also punk subculture, goth subculture. Again, all of these very different from what they are now. And I remember distinctly my sharp disappointment when when the illusions that I was projecting began to crumble. And I knew that they were my illusions. On some level, I always did. On some level, I always knew that these were workings of my imagination, as much as any story that I wrote. They were projections of my imagination and expectation, and that I was mythologizing what was going on around me. And it's easy to do so. It was easier, at least, to do so, given that the people around me were not really my peers. I may have been able to function at their level in some areas, but the simple fact is that I did not have their life experience. I did not have their economic or social independence. And so they were in many ways in a position unlike mine. So it was easy for me to reimagine the people around me as avatars of principles, of ideas, constructing a pantheon around me, a pantheon of the vitality and the otherness that I wanted to be a part of, because I saw myself as vital and as very other, and wanted that to be part of something. The moment that resounds most distinctly in my memory was hanging out at a goth club, snuck in, and I've heard it's actually no longer there, and I haven't had the heart to find out for a fact whether or not it is still there. But City Club in Detroit. I was at City Club in Detroit, and this was a great place. It was two open stories with wrought iron flooring, so it really was an open two-story. And one of those places where they charge for the water, if that gives you any indicator. And dress code at the door, definitely enforced. But I was there, and on that particular night, I don't know what triggered it, but I looked at the people around me, and I realized that they were wearing costumes, that this was a masked ball, and that for many people it just didn't stop. The masked ball never stopped. That there was nothing inherently different about what was going on there than what would be going on anywhere else. Or for that matter, that what was going on there wasn't substantially different in the essence of the exchanges, in the essence of the interactions and of the relations, from the drudgery I sought to elevate myself above, or more to the point, from the system and standards of exchange, relation, and correlation, from which I felt profoundly alienated. And I realized in that moment that what I had been relating to was the iconography. I was relating to I was relating to the pageantry. I was relating to because at a profound level I wanted it to be real. What I wanted was for the masquerade to end, and for everyone to take off the costumes, and to see and to know that what was beneath was what had been represented.